This is a video that I've wanted to make for a while now because I want to reflect back on it in a couple years. I'm at a really interesting stage of my life where in the next couple of years I'll probably have a child. I'll have a very interesting career and I'll be part of the best military in the entire world. Growing up, I had a lot of conflict on who I wanted to be. I thought originally that maybe I'd become a surgeon, maybe I'd become a professional gamer, maybe I'd become a hacker, or maybe I'd become a pastor. I didn't know what I wanted to be growing up as a kid, and all I knew is that I wanted to be something that I could basically be remembered by. I always had the grades growing up as a kid. I always did really well in school. The kid who was inside their house, if you will, locked in, just doing homework all day and playing video games. That was pretty much my life. I wasn't an outside type of kid, whether it was because I wanted to or not. It's not like I had a choice. It was just my life. As I grew up, I thought I would eventually become a surgeon, like I said, and I started pursuing medicine for a while, grabbing anatomy books as much as I could possibly find and use bookstores. When I was in high school, I would take all the health electives, including the medical. But on the other side, I was heavily interested in computers. I absolutely loved them. And when I was growing up, my father and I would bond over playing video games and building computers, essentially, or working on our computer, because it's not like we grew up rich. As I got older, of course, I was very good at video games, and it's not something that you just inherit. It's something that takes a lot of time and practice and skill and tears and pain, but I was very good at it, and there became a point where I started doing games professionally, and I was playing at the top of the ladders. My poison was StarCraft. I absolutely loved the game, and I loved everything about it. My father's poison was World of Warcraft, and that's how I actually fell in love with StarCraft. As I got older and I was going through high school, I started doing a lot of computer-based classes, trying to do everything to do possible with computers and health, because I figured if I didn't know what I was going to do by college, I was screwed. When I was 14, I was already Googling on the internet, how do I become an adult? What do I need to do in order to be ready for when I turn 18? And there was so much advice, so many people worried about what they were going to be, what could they possibly do as an adult, that it was fearful, because all my peers wanted to grow up. When I finished high school, I graduated with an advanced diploma, which is basically fancy words for I did a lot more work than the average Joe for high school. And I went into a community college. Surprise. I looked into studying abroad after being recommended from my professors to check it out. I'd already received an invitation to go and study at Harvard, that I was basically having my jaw dropped to the floor in excitement until I found out that no scholarship would be able to take care of me. That while I was accepted, I still had to carry the burden of loans and understand that, congratulations, you're an adult, now you're going to be in debt. Doesn't matter if you're smart. Are you really smart if you take on tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt over the course of 4, 6, 7 years? Is that really you being a smart person? And so I started looking abroad, and I tried my absolute hardest to try and apply for different schools, and I'll be honest with you, I absolutely sucked at the SATs and the ACTs. I had a 4.3 GPA in high school, I was super happy, and I did really well in school. But when it came to test taking, it was absolutely horrendous for me. I looked at a paper and I would essentially be falling asleep because I could already answer things. You tie that in with the fact that this paper is going to define the rest of your academic future. And next thing you know, I'm looking at a sheet of paper and I should be able to answer all of these, but I can't answer these questions. I look at them in the very same math, the very same English, the very same science questions that I can't answer. It's just brain fog. There's nothing I can do. And that was my problem. Because with school, it wasn't an issue. But with these exams that they burden on you and say, this is make or break, there's nothing I could do. And so when I went to my community college and I did the computer science and I got recommended to try and study abroad, I told myself I was going to do it. I was going to push for it, and I did push for it. I went and I was told that I couldn't study computer science in Europe, that I did not have the testing scores for it. So I said, okay. So I took a step and I said, you know what? Instead of studying for something that's probably going to fade away in over 4+ years, I'm going to study something that's going to stay true to me. And that was theology. Theology and religious studies. Now, a lot of people will say, well, that's a stupid degree. That's like having a degree in art. It's funny too, because I remember a post office. I had to go to a post office. I was talking to this Uber driver, and he was telling me how he had a master's degree in art, but he was an Uber driver. I go for this degree, and I go to Europe, and for starters, I by no means have almost any money by any means at all. You can account me for all things broke. And the only reason why I was even able to study in Europe is because of my now wife and her family. So don't get it twisted. It's not like I was lucky enough and saved thousands of dollars. My tuition, when I got accepted at this university that's deemed the top 50 universities in all the world and ranked number 2 for my degree, I found out that European test taking is a lot different than when I'm in the States. And what's funny enough is that these exams, the final exam is 100% of your grade, usually. Jumping into this lake, I immediately had to learn how to swim. My biggest problem now suddenly became an even bigger problem. Eventually, I was able to overcome it, and it allowed me to be able to get past that brain fog. I failed my exams the first semester. I failed almost every single one of them and had to retake. I think in total I had about 15 exams for my second semester. And even towards the end, finally, of all my years inside the school, I finally had figured it out how to do it. And because in Europe, they don't give you multiple choice. You have a blank piece of paper with a question at the top, and they expect you to write out 2 pages worth for the answer. When I graduated, I was already doing game design. I was already working, if you will, as they say, working for different game studios. And I was already getting my feet wet inside of it. And when I went out of it, I was super excited, super pumped. I was doing really well. I got to know a bunch of people. I was killing it. And then next thing you know, AI comes in and just swipes everything away. I was a level designer, for the record. I was a world builder. I can build worlds. I can break them down. I create them, essentially. I can design them, lay them out, everything in terms of what you see as a player inside of a video game. In the gaming industry, we already had tools to be able to generate worlds as far as terrain, but we never had tools that would allow us to just fully create interiors instantaneously or fully generate the worlds that we saw that we wanted. And I could see my job in the future slowly fading in terms of being able to do it. And I had built up this job in terms of understanding how this worked along the side of my degree, while at the same time doing IT, because while I was doing game design, I had to understand how these games were being held onto servers, how they were being sent to players, how players were connecting, and all of that in the back end in terms of just genuinely getting to know every single bit of it. I had to understand anti-cheat and the difference, or shall I say, the explanation as to why in, say, World of Warcraft, when you plug out your computer on the Ethernet cable, why your character can still walk, and then when you plug it back in, it teleports you to a different area. I had to understand those sort of things, and when I was finally able to find some kind of freelance work, in terms of just getting freelance work and being super excited and like, yes, finally I found something, and I thought I finally had something going for me, I had people who were just essentially going to break contracts, or it was the most toxic work environment. I had people that I was working for in completely different countries working in completely different countries. Say, for example, United Arab Emirates, that would just say, you're done now. Thank you so much for being with us for 2 to 3 months, whatever it might be, and then have a great day. It's not like I had health benefits. It's not like I had insurance. It's not like I had anything of the sorts. There's nothing I could do. And the people who were replacing me were not, I wouldn't want to say skilled developers, but it was more so the majority of numbers as well. Because if you didn't have AI replacing me, then you had, as messed up as this sounds, folks in third world countries replacing me. So I would be one person, and they'd say, okay, you can do all this work and this is great, but for you, we're just going to replace you with 6 people for the same amount of time and effort that you're putting in, and just switch you over with them. And so I would just be like, okay, there's nothing I could do. And then there would be 2 to 3 months at a time where there was just nothing I could do inside of the gaming industry. Because in the gaming industry, you have to know everyone. You have to get to know people, and then those people start to recommend you to everyone, and then those people, it keeps chaining. And within that scene as well, if you're not part of a big gaming studio, then you have to be a jack of many trades. You can't just be a level designer / a world builder. No. You have to be a modeler. You have to be a rigger. You have to know how to do cinematography. You have to do all these different pieces. And all you want to do is just build world. So it got to be a bit too much for me, unfortunately, and as lame as that sounds. And I decided that if I was going to genuinely keep going down this route, then I wouldn't have a solid future for me and my family, because I was watching people just being laid off at Riot Games, Blizzard Entertainment, the very same places that I was aspiring to take internships at. So I decided this year, around February, after me and my wife talked about it, that I was going to change my career. That I was going to do cybersecurity, because I figured that if there was anything that was stable in this life in terms of work, with all the way tech is going, then I should at least be the guy who understands how it works. I already had Net Plus as a certification. I'd already done Linux. I'd already experimented with that. I already understood how ports worked. I already understood servers. I have a server right now behind me even. That's my home lab. Like, I already understood how to do this stuff, especially thanks to the people who are already around me. I didn't think about joining the US Air Force at all. And when I was a kid, my father would be like, why don't you join the Army? Why don't you join the Air Force? Why don't you become a Marine or something? And I would always just be like, no, I don't want to do that. Joining the military, that's crazy. I don't have a death wish. My uncle served for 20 years, and me and my family were worried sick about him every time when he was over in Afghanistan and Iraq. And I didn't want to inflict that on my own family. I love my country. I'm patriotic as hell. And so I started looking into it again. And as of around February of this year, I was contacted by a recruiter. And I was told basically all the perks and the bonuses and the things that you can get like that. And I was extremely interested, but I knew the tricks when it came to recruitment. I understood, because if there was one thing I was really good at in my life, it was studying. But what I really wanted to do to make sure that I secured my life and I got what I wanted is to make sure I got the job I wanted. I wanted to make sure that going into the Air Force that I would get the job to secure my future. And I found out the hard truth is that you have a list. You have about 10 jobs. It depends on whoever your recruiter is, but you have about 10 jobs that you have to place on your list. And you have to do the ASVAB, and you also have to do the EBT, I think it is called. I put down every single job that I possibly can, starting from the top of the most interesting one down to the very bottom. They asked me, when can you ship out? When do you want it? Because your number one spot is right here. But it was about 2 weeks before my wedding. And I told them, I will ship out, I think it was at the time 3 weeks after my wedding. 3 weeks. After that, you have me. But before that, I'm not going yet. I could have had my dream job right at that point, but I did not take it. I did not want it right off the bat. It wasn't going to happen. Because family for me comes first. Now, I understand that when you join the military, things change quite fast. But I knew that while I was out and still a civilian, that I was going to keep my freedom. And I was going to make sure that my family stayed my priority. So, I got married. During this process, though, between February and July or August roughly, I decided to do research. What's my tech school like? What do I need? My tech school said that the hardest part about it is securing your Sec Plus. You have to have the certification. You have to have it. Okay, let me go and get it. I got my Security Plus. Then after I finished that, I started looking into the possible bonuses I could get, because you see that there's bonuses all the time. And I find out that for cyber and intel, there's not really a bonus unless you sign up for 6 years. I'm not interested in 6 years. I'm interested in 4. And the reason why is because I can always get more and more time, plus possibly re-enlistment bonuses, whatever it might be. So I'm going to start off with 4. Maybe it's too much of wear and tear on my life. Maybe I have a kid that I want to spend more time with, whatever it might be. You never know. And so I want to go 4 years. Well, I find out that if I had a certain level of certification, then I could hit E4, which is a higher pay grade. And furthermore, it was a challenge. It was a challenge for me to see if I could actually do this for me. I found out I could take the CompTIA Security X exam, and that's what I went for. So I went for Security Plus, I went for Security X, and I got it. Then I'm in this waiting limbo. It's basically DEP. And in this process, before I had my honeymoon, I flew out to Ramstein Air Base. I had all the medical and everything done, because when you come in from EU, you have to go to the nearest US air base, and that in this case was Ramstein. So I had done all the work and all the medical, and then I basically had to leave again, come back, and now I'm waiting. And I'm told you basically are on 24-hour notice. Something can pop out, someone can leave last second, and if you're ready to go for it, then you can do it. And I was like, okay, I'm waiting. So I wait and I wait and I wait and I wait and I wait. Every single month passes by. We're talking June, July, August, September. Like every single month, I find out more information. Hey, anything new? No, nothing. Hey, anything new? No, nothing. Hey, anything new? No, nothing. Just a constant repeat until come around September, and I hear an intelligence job possibly has a job opening. Possibly. And I tell them that, I'm interested, I want to hear it. And I was talking to my wife about it, and I was telling her about the job and such, and she was like, that's really awesome, like, I'm really happy for you, but is it something you want to do? And I kept thinking to myself, and at first, I'm telling her, I'm like, yeah, of course it's something I want to do. And I kept thinking about it, I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I should just wait. We've already prayed long enough. We've talked about this things that we've been trying to do here. One of the things that was really interesting is that when you have DoD level 3 for a certification, you can do what's called a competency booking. This booking essentially is a special type of booking that says whatever job that you're aiming for that is part of that competency to do with your certification, essentially you'll get. At least that's my understanding. And so I told him, that's because we had one pending on waiting. I told my recruiter, I was like, you know what? I thought about it more, like a couple hours later. I'm like, I thought about it more. Keep me updated with what happens with it, but I really want to see what's going to happen with this booking if you're good with it. And my recruiter is awesome, and he was like, no problem at all. Let's wait and see what happens. And the next month, I get a call, 8 o'clock in the morning, you're booked. Your number one job that you wanted, network operations. You're shipping in February. I'm like, okay. And to come to find out that client systems and network operations are merging into one. So my top 2 picks that I was super excited for are now actually going to become my job. The only job that I wanted, essentially. And that's why in the beginning of all my videos, every time you see in the corner, it says days left before BMT. That's the reason. I've always had an issue feeling like I was the imposter wherever and everywhere I've been, essentially, with my life. And then I feel like I'm a nobody who knows nothing. And it's partially due to my background. For me, I want to leave behind a legacy for my family and for my future generations. I genuinely feel like as an adult or growing up as a kid, we always tell ourselves, I can do so much better than what my parents are doing now, or their grandparents, whatever, or I'm going to be the change. I'm going to be the difference. I'm going to be the chain breaker in my family. And then when you turn 18 or 19 or 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, say you even have a kid, you start to realize I'm no different. But for me, I want to be able to say I'm different. I want to be that parent that when their kid is going up to school, they say, that's Matthew's kid. And that's what I want. I want my kids to be able to look at me in the eyes and say, Dad, you're my dad. So, thanks for watching. Bye.